Between the years of 1947 and 1991, the world was faced with a Cold War, marked by geopolitical tensions between the United States and the former Soviet Union. One of the most remarkable moments of this whole period was the space race, an intense space exploration by the two superpowers. It was even during this period, on July 20th, 1969, that Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin manning the Apollo 11 rocket set foot on the moon. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Last Saturday, July 11th, 2021, almost 52 years after the Apollo 11 landing, Richard Branson, a billionaire famous for having founded the Virgin Group, flew into space in his own company's spacecraft, becoming the first businessman to fly in a spacecraft developed for commercial purposes. The mission is called Unity 22 and took off at 12:25 p.m. in the state of New Mexico, United States, and landed at 12:41 p.m. at the same place from where it took off, at Spaceport America, the first spaceport designed for commercial purposes, also built by the entrepreneur. Besides Richard Branson himself, the project was manned by 2 pilots and 3 other Virgin Galactic employees. Another interesting piece of information is that Branson did not use a classic rocket to push the limits of our atmosphere, but a plane that took off from the runway and then released the ship where Branson was at the exact altitude. The spacecraft is truly a work of art. The Jetsons would be proud of us. Upon arriving in space, the spacecraft started its engines and then glided down. The entire journey took less than 20 minutes. This is no ordinary flight like ones we are used to seen done by ordinary planes. This is because it was a so-called suborbital flight. Suborbital flight is a flight where the plane is able to pass the boundaries of what has been determined as space, which is approximately 89 kilometers in height. But they do not get the speed necessary to stay in orbit, so they come back down to Earth. The satellites in the moon work in a different way. They are also in what we call space, but they have the speed necessary to go into orbit. The purpose of this flight was to do a test to experience what its future customers would go through, since Virgin Galactic will start offering space tourism in 2022. So far, more than 600 tickets have already been sold. The ticket prices range between $200,000 and $250,000. Branson's suborbital flight on Sunday, according to Virgin Galactic, is expected to be used in advertising to reopen ticket sales for future space travels next year. Besides giving the beginning of what is called the space tourism era, it's influencing other billionaires who are entering what would be a new space race, but this time run by private companies. Bezos stepped down as CEO of Amazon on July 5th this year to devote himself 100% to this new initiative of his. And guess who is manning the company's spaceship? That's right, the egghead himself. Bezos' trip will take place on July 20th, and he will be crewed by his brother, Mark Bezos, aviator Wally Funk, the oldest person ever to go into space, and an anonymous bidder for the spot at an auction for $28 million. He intends to reach the 100-kilometer altitude milestone, crossing the Kármán line, the line that divides the Earth's atmosphere and outer space. The new space race, or New Space as it has been called, is bringing together more and more multi-millionaires to try and commercialize space tourism in the coming years. Among these names are Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos, and also Elon Musk. They all talk about trips to space, to the moon, and even to Mars. Elon Musk's company SpaceX has already announced that by the end of this year, they want to take the first tourists into space. But ahead of his competitors, he will not go along on his mission, but some American residents who applied on the website and will be selected. But Elon has also gone a little further and said that he wants to live on Mars. According to his own words, "I want to die on Mars, and not in an accident." But Branson's adventures were not always successful. When he crossed the Pacific Ocean in a hot air balloon in 1991, he missed course and, instead of landing in Southern California as predicted, landed on a frozen lake in Canada. He had already tried to take the same oceanic balloon trip 4 years before, this time over the Atlantic, but the adventure almost ended in tragedy. Another iconic adventure was when Branson tried to beat the record for crossing the English Channel aboard a motorboat at high speed. He didn't break the record. The fact is, this is the British billionaire's trademark. He tends to take risks as a poster boy in the launch of his own companies, which currently number more than 40 in various fields, from air transport to telecommunications, spread over 35 countries. Since 1970, when he created his first company in what would become the multi-million-dollar conglomerate Virgin Group, the entrepreneur has incarnated characters such as a commercial flight pilot, a flight attendant, and even a bride, a role played during the launch of a company in the wedding clothing business. Branson currently has a fortune valued by Forbes magazine at $5.6 billion. According to his biography on the Virgin conglomerate website, his first company was created in 1970, a record distributor, Virgin Mail Online, which shipped records to buyers by mail. Then Virgin Records came. One of the first customers was, amazingly, the Sex Pistols. The Rolling Stones, among other bands, not only British ones, also went through the label. Its newest venture is Virgin Galactic, which plans to increase its capital by inaugurating space travel for tourists in 2022.